what we're trying to optimize for is we're trying to optimize for the experience of connection and being truly connected in a very disconnected society. It's modern parenting, but it's going back to the wisdoms of 5,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000, but the true wisdoms of that, not so much what they didn't have, it's so much of the things of culture, values, principles that they had, community, kind of like allowing us to co-learn as opposed to Ocean's a baby, so put her in the corner, give her her toys, go see her every 5 minutes, go look after her versus come embrace her.
I love that, because that once again means that any advice when people say how to have a relationship, how to have romance after you have a baby, it doesn't really apply to us generically, because that means getting a babysitter, getting, doing the convenient thing for the baby whilst we try and romance and bring back our fire after going through birth.
I think it's different fire.
Yeah, exactly. So we're figuring it out. So differently to the advice that's online. Like
people want to go back to their date nights and how do I take you to a movie and how do we watch a movie and how do we do these things that we used to do, and it's like, but wait, you got to find the next chapter. You got to stop going back to the past.
Yes, exactly.
Something that I journaled about this morning was looking back at being 30 and my body in my 20s versus my body in my 30s, and the whole entire time of being a father, being a business owner, running all these things, when it comes to my body, I've always wanted to go back into the past. I've always gone, hey, I want to get back here. Instead of figuring out, okay, what is the next evolution as a 30 to 40-year-old man that's no longer 20 to 30, no longer in his 20s, what's the next evolution and journey that I got to embrace?
I love that.
And it's the same evolution with our relationship.
Yep.
That so many people they look back at their past and they go, oh my God, I wish we used to be like that. Like,
do you remember our date nights every Friday?
Do you remember when we first just started dating?
We used to have a glass of wine every night together?
People want to go back to that, and I'm like, no, you got to stop going back into the past. And this was my reflection this morning in my journaling. I got to stop going back to when I had a six-pack, and I got to figure out, okay, what is practical for me right now? What's my journey as a 30 going into my 40s? The not getting easier. So what excitement, fulfillment process do I find there, rather than creating this fantasy that I got to get back here? It's like, that's done. And so the romance with you and I is going to evolve, and it's not going to go, hey, Ocean, go away. I need romance time with your mum. That's what would have happened without Ocean. Now it's like, well, how do we incorporate family and then find romance amongst the family?
When I hear that, I laugh a little bit inside, because Ocean bed shares with us. She sleeps in the bed with me.
Oh, you're not going to do it? Are you going to?
And Lynn sleeps in the next bed.
Yep.
And for the most part, parents put their child in a cot so that they can sleep together and romance together. But the funny thing is, romance is typically dead in most relationships anyway. So you're doing something to separate your child in order to try and bring back something that you're missing, which is romance, but it was missing in the first place.
Yeah. That's when it becomes forced.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes really sticky. So I play out these scenarios down and I go, if Ocean's in another room and I'm trying to romance you and we're both not feeling it because our connection isn't there, because we're not integrated, our values are not aligned, it's kind of, that's when disappointment happens.
Yeah.
Kind of like, all right, we've only got 30 minutes. That's a spiral
of disappointment, because
then
the baby is in a separate room.
Yep. We've got to do it.
Yeah.
We're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
She's not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. We're just going to do it. And most people are okay with that until they're not. Until 5 years down the track, when they start to go, wow, this is not what my life should be. This is not what I thought I was going to happen. Amongst all of the comparison on social media and Hollywood painting your life to be happily ever after, it's no wonder why so many people are getting divorced. Like 54% right now across the world, a bit higher in America. But then with COVID-19, when people are isolated and locked down together, that's like shot up. And it's quite funny. There's a stereotype that men have, like literally, it's like, once you're married, goodbye. And I kind of get that stereotype, because
Goodbye what?
Goodbye to just life, good luck. Like,
right.
It's game over for you. Like, here's your and I think that's why they have this bachelor party.
One final hurrah.
Because it's like one final hurrah, one final crazy night out, one final adventure of your life. And, what tends to happen in marriages is people then start looking back at their glory days, and then they want that. And I used to, like, I found myself quite often talking about my past and what I used to get up to in my body and attracting women and the games that I could play. And I'm like, oh yeah, those were so good. And it's kind of like, until you realize that the best is still ahead of you and you just have to make it your best, you're stuck in limbo.
And it's easy to look at the tactics. I would say the body and all of that gloriness and things like that. They're the tactics of life.
Yeah.
It's very easy to look back on those tactics and wish you still had them. But underlying all of that was a very unshaky foundation of no principles.
No principles, no North Compass. And the intuition, I really think in order for you to consciously parent and be aware of everyone else's stories that were just other people's stories that they believed and people just said shit and then we all just agreed, and as soon as you agree then you now regurgitate because that becomes a thing. You can't be conscious if you don't know your North Compass, if you don't know what you're optimizing for. Like Keri and I, if we didn't know that we're trying to build an integrated family with O, then we're trying to look growing her up as quickly as possible, getting her out of the house, going to school so that we can have our own time back then.
Why didn't we just not have kids?
Exactly. Like, why do we just waste 5 years of our life to do nothing in our marriage to then get back to a point? It just doesn't make any sense. And it's like, you can choose to have children. And if you do, then figure out how to integrate them and live the best life instead of trying to go back to the past of the life that you had previously. I think that then becomes our principles, and that's the stand that we're taking with modern parents. That's the stand that more than ever your kids need to be connected to you amongst the wild, wild west of social media technology. That they need to feel like they have a home with
before
you.
They try and find a community outside. Have a community at home first.
Yeah.
Build that community, that safe home. Home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
And for the most part, children don't have a home at home. And a lot of children these days are trying to seek belonging in a place where
it's confusing.
It's wild. It is wild because people bombard you with their opinions.
Different messages. The belief of there are billions of different thoughts and billions of different ideas and beliefs out there. How do your kids know what to believe?
Yeah.
How do they know what they're optimizing for? And so when they start believing everything, they start to lose their mind because they don't know who they are. Yeah.
And then when they see their mum and dad who supposedly have principles, but their principles are conflicting, which, you know, with my mum, it is conflicting because on the one hand, she vouches for growth-minded and everything like that. Then on the other hand, she's like, I'm too old. Those are very two conflicting. I'm too old to change. Yes. But I'll tell you to change. Yes. So they're two very conflicting principles. Yeah. And like when I'm young, I don't see the differences and I just become confused. I've just realized this whole entire time you got that big microphone in your face covering half of your face. Oh, I can't see my face. You can't see, yeah, well. Hello. Keri's face is half covered, but this is Keri. Hello. Oh, it's the best. Oh, this is. I'm short, guys. This is hilarious, but. Oh, there we go. So, I can see myself. Being able to take a stand. I love this. This is the best episode so far. Being able to take a stand for your North Compass and being strong enough to understand where people are coming at, understand that people have great intentions. Your mum has great intentions. My parents have great intentions. My siblings have great intentions. My friends have great intentions. They just want to not see me fail or make mistakes. They just want to save me some harm. And there's great intention there. Unfortunately, great intention generally doesn't turn out to be a great outcome that optimizes for integration. It actually optimizes for convenience. So modern parents isn't about being convenient. It's not about, it's about having a fulfilling life. It's about being connected with your children. It's about having a family that can all share and will fight and die for each other at the end and be there for one another, because at the end of the day that's all you have. Yep.
At the end of the day, the only thing that I've come to realize after Ocean and you is that family is all that matters. And it's the family that I have. And it's the family that I get to lead. It no longer becomes the family that I was a part of. It becomes the tribe that you're a part of a tribe. And if you decide that, heck, like you got to go out and find your own way and to build your own tribe, then great, so be it. If you can build your tribe within the tribe, even better. I've found that I've had to leave my tribe to go out and explore, to create this thing, and then create the foundations and the protection, as well as the framework and the North Compass for us to follow.
And his tribe being mum and dad, 5 siblings.
Yeah.
Which
5 super smart siblings, 5, but
they're a very close family. Like for him to leave, to say that is a very strong statement and very, very difficult.
And when you do leave, and when you do decide to declare and take a stand for what it is that you want to do and what it is that you want to optimize for, and you do go, enough is enough, you're going to need to take a stand, and you're going to need to go, okay, well, I can no longer have this conversation inside of my tribe, because I don't want these communication packets to keep storing up inside of my mind, because whether or not you know it, everything that you listen to, everything that you allow your brain to subconsciously hear sits there, and now now it's stored inside of your brain.
I will always know. I don't even know these 2 people on Instagram, and I'm not even on Instagram anymore, but I will always remember that one of the influencers I used to follow, mum influencers, her baby started walking at 11 months. Another baby's tooth came out when they were 8 months.
Yep.
I will always remember that.
And it sits there.
And it just sits there.
Just sits there waiting.
Yeah. It doesn't impact me in any way, but I'm like, why can I just forget that, because it's using up RAM? The fact that I know.
I disagree. It does impact you. It impacts you in your moments of instability and uncertainty, and your moments of chaos. That's when it comes up.
Yeah, it does come up.
That's when it comes up.
It
when
could.
you start becoming insecure, you're like, oh my God.
If Ocean doesn't walk,
and she doesn't have teeth.
Yeah, or if Ocean at 15 months isn't walking still, I might go, oh my God, how do you get a baby to walk? And
for sure.
Maybe just drag her back and forth.
Yeah. We'll start taking her to walk school.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
That right now, if you're allowing the ideas and the communicate, like be very careful with who you listen to and what you accept.
Yeah.
Because even though you might not think it's doing any harm, you being around people is allowing their communication packages to be stored inside of your brain, waiting to evolve and erupt into a nuclear explosion when you're in your most vulnerable and uncertain and crazy state of chaos. That's when it comes up. It's all fine when everyone's fine. It's just when you're not fine.
Yeah.
And and that's just not even advice from just a parenting perspective. That comes from advice from relationship perspective.
Life
your mum could be like, your mum could plant a story inside of you and go, be careful of men that are rich.
Yeah.
That make money. They cheat on you. And that little story can sit inside of your brain. And then as I'm texting my female clients,
the weeds grow inside my brain.
As I'm texting clients, working with clients.
And one day I explode and I go, you are never working with women again.
That's why we have a men's program. But these things, on a serious note, if you allow yourself to listen, to accept communication packages, to accept packages at your door, to be stored inside of your brain, be careful. Because they're sitting there and they're growing and they're waiting to explode in those moments of vulnerability. So take a stand and ask yourself, like, who do you want to be? What type of parent do you want to be? What do you want to optimize for?
I think in order to take a stand, you have to be able to define key words of life and what you want out of those key words, like marriage, money, success, what they actually mean to you versus what you've been told they should mean. Love, happiness, those are very fundamental words that lead to knowing what stand you take.
Yeah.
And then being able to back up that stand with the way that you live your life, the way that you practice those principles.
Correct. That's super powerful. Like
Yeah.
I want to emphasize that. Like it's understanding what you want.
Yeah.
What do you want? Like maybe you don't want the yacht, first class, gold watches. Maybe you want what that weird guy was talking about on Tim Ferriss's podcast, which is just to not worry about the check, just to buy what you want and not have to worry about the money. Maybe that's what you want. So really getting and being okay with that. Like I'm a loser because I don't have these things. I think that's when you start. That's when, if you don't know what you want in life, you're going to get given anything. And life becomes a really bad roller coaster of anything and everything. And at
More
the end,
and
you're
more
not happy.
and more and more and faster and better and easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the foundational key. What do you want? And then what needs to happen in order for you to get there?
It's the hardest question to ask.
Like, what do you want? Like, even asking that question right now, many times it's okay for you not to know. And the next thing is to find out, not to give up. Like, what do you want? What do we want for O? What do we want for our family? What do you want? Like, you know, it was so confusing with you as well with business. It's kind of like, what do you want? What business do you want? And for a long period of time, you didn't know until you knew.
Yeah.
It was like Keri's been through quite a few stages of business. So have I. And it's taken me 6 years to actually figure out what I want in business, what I want to do. Like, truly. And even then, once I do get it, well, maybe it's not what I want anymore, and that's okay. And then it's finding out what that next thing that I want based on where I am at 42.
There's principles though that underline what you want, because when you want a certain thing now, it doesn't mean you're going to want it tomorrow again. But there's still a principle underneath it.
It's the same trajectory. It's the same road, per se.
I think that's really important to define, because what you want today doesn't necessarily mean that you'll want it next week. Like, we eat different things every single week.
Correct.
But what you want and the answers that revolve around connection, trust, respect, not what you want, like five employees, and you know that level of specificity will change, but there are guiding principles and guiding foundations that will carry through for the rest of your life. When you figure it out, when you figure out that you value integrity over design, for instance, then you'll always follow integrity. I'm thinking about a house, the integrity of a house versus like the design of a house, the aesthetics.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Like, if
I
you
just
value,
wasn't sure where you're going with that. Like,
so if you value the integrity of your body and what you put in, how healthy you are, genuinely for your hormones, versus the aesthetics, the design of your body, because we know that you can look great but feel like shit.
How many people do you think want that?
But you know what? You have to know. You have to figure that out.
Yeah.
If you want the aesthetics over integrity, you have to stand for that. Like, genuinely, because it's not the answer to go, but how many people actually want that? People don't even know that they want it. That's the problem. People don't even know that they will value aesthetics over integrity.
Yeah.
And that's fine. If you value that, that's fine. It's just, do you know that's what you want? That's the question.
Great question. Well, that being said, let's wrap up this episode, shall we?
Yeah. Today was fun.
Today is called...
It was very flowy. It was very kind of everywhere and anywhere.
Stand by your principles.
Yeah.
Have the courage to take a stand. Because if you don't have the courage to take a stand for what you believe in, or you're going to believe in a lot of different things.
Hey, look, the mic looks like it's bruising me. Look.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, mums and fathers and dads, we'll see you on the next episode. And children. And
remember, we are all children before we are parents.
We are still children. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Have an amazing day.
Until next week.
Bye-bye.